local radar. But first, the current local conditions.
Currently in your area, 34 degrees with light snow. Area 36 degrees with rainy conditions. Skies on Tuesday and Wednesday, and on Thursday, expect mostly cloudy skies. Currently in your area,
And we'll also be taking a look back in history a couple years ago. Wreck in Tennessee due to some fog, and we'll show you some video from that. But first, we've shown you the many types of fog, but there are different reasons why they form. Dennis Smith explains.
Fog can cause havoc on the roads and in the air. Travel becomes a nightmare as visibility is reduced. Fog is basically a cloud on the ground. The most common type is radiation or ground fog. This forms when humid air is cooled to its dew point, causing water vapor to begin condensing into tiny drops. On clear, still nights, heat radiates away from the ground, cooling the ground and the air next to it. Heavier cold air flows into low places. Fog forms as the air cools to its dew point. Fog is normally less than a couple of 100 feet deep. When the sun rises, the heat burns off the fog as the temperature rises above the dew point. Dennis Smith, The Weather Channel.
All right, today's focus is fog, and basically when you're talking about fog, fog is just a cloud that's down at the surface. Usually clouds are higher up in the atmosphere because it takes that far for the air to lift up and cool to condense into the cloud. So the cloud sits a little bit higher up above the ground because that's where temperatures are cool enough for the water to condense. In the case of fog, the air temperature at the surface is cold enough for the moisture in the air to condense into fog. And basically what you're doing is you're cooling down the air until it gets cold enough so that any moisture that it has in it condenses out into a cloud. In the case of radiation fog, we get the air cold by having clear skies, very light winds, and that allows all the heat that accumulated in the ground or on the ground or in the water during the day to radiate directly out to space. So you lose all the heat that you got during the day. And what happens is the cold air starts to creep down the mountainsides because it is colder and denser, and it starts to collect down in the valleys. And as the air gets colder, it finally gets to a point where it starts to condense the moisture out of the air, and you get the valley radiation fog. Sometimes, particularly in the autumn months, in the east, you can be driving along a ridge top, and it'll be perfectly clear, but you dip down into the valley, that's where you get all the fog.
I think
we've got another kind of fog we want to talk about.
I think that's going to be
steam fog.
enough Weather Channel for now.
Is show you basically what steam fog is. You have.
But if you didn't know, I gave you a command.
Is what we're talking about. And I think we have some pictures here to show you of the very warm water. There we go. And
because I thought it would be funny.
Like boiling water on a stove, and as the steam comes rising up out, what's basically happening is the water vapors coming up out of that pot of boiling water interact.
Oh. Real quick, before we get started, I just want to make sure that y'all can hear me. It's peaking. Oh yeah, I see that. Look at that. That's terrible. Let's see here. Turn that down. It's like micro adjustments, I swear. Okay, hi everybody. How's everybody doing today? As some of you from last year might remember, we have actually read this policy before, but it was on the main channel, and it was a part of a much larger live stream where we also read, I think we did Signal, Delete Me, uBlock Origin, and Discord all in one live stream, which was notably too much. So we're going to be avoiding that in the future, because I like just doing one. So it's a lot easier on my voice, and I feel like I can do them more consistently. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Thank you everybody for confirming. So I just want to kind of give you a fun little tidbit. I added a feature, so like you can do commands, I guess, in StreamerBot. So I've given you a command on the "We'll Be Back" screen to actually change the channel if you want. So it's type exclamation point, change channel on that screen, and it'll change the channel, which is fun. Let's see here. I have to read a thing really quick before we get started. Hello, everyone. Today, we're going to be looking at Discord's privacy policy. As is tradition, I want to set some expectations before we get started. We will be using the Privacy Visualizer tool I made to get us better help to retain what we've already read. If you want to follow along, you can go to privacyvisualizer.com or by following the link in the description, which will also have all the related links to this privacy policy reading. As a quick recap, we will use blue to represent data that is collected. We will use yellow or orange to represent shared data, and red to represent data that is sold. And we will be using the definition of sold as described in the California Consumer Privacy Act, otherwise known as the CCPA. As we do with all readings on this channel, we will be reading this with the assumption of worst case scenario. This means that if they mention that some data is optional, we will treat it as if it were collected, shared, or sold, depending on the surrounding context. We're reading this from the perspective of someone who clicks yes on whatever pop-ups might come up. The one exception will be for business-to-business things. Most businesses come up with their own contracts and policies, so it's not really relevant for the average person. Most people are not representing businesses, so we will ignore those sections if they come up. As a reminder, the purpose of the Privacy Visualizer is to help us retain what we've read. It is not meant to summarize what we've read to others. You'll see as we read along that it oversimplifies things too much, and it doesn't give a full picture like this video would in its entirety. Please avoid using the Privacy Visualizer as a tool to summarize privacy policies. It is a tool to help you read privacy policies. If you want to learn more about that, check out the video in the description on the main channel. Okay, sorry, I have to get that out of the way because I like that being at the beginning of every video. Because some people are just going to watch the policies that they're particularly interested in. So, I like to give that little intro disclaimer. Okay, so having a look at Discord's homepage, it's colorful, it's fun, little 3D avatars here and there, that's great. We're going to scroll down to the bottom, and I have this really zoomed in, but it's going to be under the privacy tab here. And we can actually see that this was last updated a whole year ago. Which, I don't know if you know, that is pretty uncommon for these major policies to be updated in at least that long of a time span. There have absolutely been some laws that have changed. So if their policy is still legally valid, that's a good thing. Spoilers for those that didn't watch the original, this policy is not as bad as I was expecting when I read it the first time. And given some of the news they've been in, in the past couple of... it was a few months ago, I'm surprised this hasn't changed. So, that's good to know. All right, before we jump in, does anybody have any questions? Yes. How do you feel about Discord as a company? I don't know. I don't know, if I'm being honest. I think that they offer a valid service, but the company itself definitely has made some uncomfortable decisions in the past. I have to admit, the way that they handled the age verification thing afterwards, I actually thought was pretty stand-up, where they are open sourcing the technology for trying to push forward more open source private standards, which I do actually support. The policy was updated exactly once after I read it. So technically there is actually some new information, which is actually kind of nice. It's not like we're just rehashing the same thing, even though we kind of are, but it's fine. This was the second most requested policy for us to read from the Patreon members over at patreon.com/projectconvenience. And next week, we're going to be doing the big kahuna, Meta. So get ready for that one. That's a big policy. That's an annoying policy. But today, we're going to be looking at one that is shockingly easy to read. It's a little long, but it is easy to read. So, yeah, Camwing, exactly. It's my favorite pastime. I can't tell you how much I want to make a video that is just dedicated to, like, here's the countless misdeeds of Meta. Because it's a long list. Oh yeah, I agree. It's fun to be here live. It'll be next week. Oh, do you mean for the video, Camwing? Because I'll let you rant about. No, Meta's policy is crazy. Like, I was looking at it for the next video because I wanted to, like, validate something on my end, and I could not believe they proved my point in their privacy policy. I was like, oh my god. So the next video and that reading are going to be a hoot and a half. That script is only on, like, the third draft, so... All right, Camwing, I got you. Okay, let's get started. Discord privacy policy, effective September 29th, 2025, last updated August 29th, 2025. We're going to skip the table of contents because we're going to read the whole thing. So we have a welcome. This privacy policy explains how we collect, use, store, protect, and share your personal information through our services. If you reside in the European Economic Area, otherwise known as the EEA, Discord Netherlands BV is the data controller of your personal information collected through these services defined in our terms of service. For everyone else, Discord Incorporated is the data controller. It's important that you read this entire policy, but here's a summary to get you started. Historically, I have not been a fan of summaries of policies, especially from the companies making the policies. Again, it's for the same reasons that I don't like people using the privacy visualizers to summarize things. This is not going to give us enough information, which we will see. We care a lot about privacy. We are committed to enabling you to build meaningful connections around the joy of playing games through voice, video, and text features. Respecting user privacy is a key part of that mission. We don't sell your personal information. Our business is funded through your subscriptions, paid products, and sponsored content, not based on selling your personal information to third parties. Again, I've read this. This is true. They don't sell data, which is nice. We limit what information is required. We require information that... it looks like we limit what information is required. We require the information that enables us to create your account, provide and maintain our services, meet our commitments to our users, and satisfy our legal requirements. The rest is optional. I treat the privacy visualizer as a bingo game. That's such a good idea. I support that. Sorry, I didn't mean to. Okay. Let's see here. We deeply care about safety. Our dedicated trust and safety team works hard to keep our users safe. We also use certain information to help us identify violations of our terms and policies, such as our community guidelines, in order to prevent harmful content or conduct on the service. Bingo, but as you get closer, you just become more depressed. That's true. That's true. And we give you control. We give you the ability to control your privacy on Discord. Cool. Again, I'm not a big fan of summaries. This is not enough information to actually summarize the policy. Because, like, the summary doesn't tell you, hey, what do they collect? Which, that doesn't feel right to me. A little bit about Discord. Discord enables you to build meaningful connections around the joy of playing games through voice, video, and text features. Whether you're part of a club, gaming group, or just a handful of friends that want to spend time together, Discord makes it easy to connect with friends. Gonna get some water real quick. Remember to hydrate, everybody. That's important. These policies are long. Our services has the same meaning as defined in the terms of service. They include the Discord app, which can be accessed on mobile, web, desktop, console, or even a connected home appliance. I didn't know that. Any device with a web browser and internet connection. We also have a website, blog, and support center, and we may collect your information through other means like surveys, emails, and social media. If we build another product, our services include that too. Oh, drinking water animation is such a good suggestion. Katie, can you write that down? I love that. Yeah, who's using Discord on their fridge? That's crazy. As explained in our terms of service, we allow users to add content to the services in a number of different ways, including via direct messages in a smaller and larger spaces. If you share content within larger spaces, that content may be accessed by many people, including people you do not know. For example, some servers are available in the server discovery section of the app and do not require an invite link to join. Other server owners may publish their server invite link on other public websites. Anyone can access these servers, and you should be aware that server owners and admins set these permissions, like the size of the server, and the permissions may change over time. We may also use content posted in larger spaces to help us develop, maintain, improve, and power our services, including features that help you catch up on conversations and safety features that identify harmful content on these services and support the enforcement of our terms of service and community guidelines. These things are important to us, and we believe they will make Discord even better for our users. We always try to let you know the type of space you are in, although we don't control where the invite links are shared or the permissions for that server. You can limit the extent to which your content is used for these purposes as described in the How to Control Your Privacy section below. You can learn more about our approach to safety and content moderation, including how we use your information for these purposes in our Safety Center. You should take all of this into account when you are using our services, choose the spaces, features, and settings that are most appropriate for your content. We don't make money from selling personal information. Sorry, let me start that over. We don't make money from selling your personal information to third parties. Our business is funded through subscriptions, paid products, and sponsored content like quests and other sponsored formats. Cool. So we shouldn't see any red by the end of this policy reading. Which is, that'll be nice. The information we collect. We collect certain information when you use Discord. This includes information you provide us, information we collect automatically, and information we receive from other sources. Okay. Information you provide to us. Account information. When you create a Discord account, you can come up with a username and password and provide a way of contacting you, such as an email address and/or phone number. All right. You also need to provide your birthday In some cases, we may require additional information to verify your age. You may be required to verify your account or provide additional information like a verified phone number to your account. You may also have the option to add your name or choose a display name. Okay. So we're going to call that contact info because email address, phone number. And we're going to use identifiers since usernames are kind of specific to you. And that would also potentially contain information about verifying your age, like a license. Content you create. I want to plant a seed in the future for this category, everybody. Just remember the importance of this category for future privacy policies, okay? Content you create. This includes any content that you upload to the services. For example, you may write messages or posts, including drafts, send voice messages, create custom emojis, or post other content that you create with features that we develop. You may also upload and share files through the services. This also includes your profile information and the information you provide when you create servers. We generally do not store the contents of videos. We generally do not store the information. Generally. I love that word there. We generally do not store the contents of video or voice calls or channels. If we were to change that in the future, for example, to facilitate content moderation, we would disclose that to you in advance. We also don't store streaming content when you share your screen, but we do retain the thumbnail cover image for the stream for a short period of time. We may build features that help users engage with voice and video content, like create or send short recordings. Okay, so usually in my book, again, we're qualifying everything as worst case scenario. So we are going to say user content because like anything that you write, anything that you record and send in voice messages, anything that you send, like upload, anything you upload and share files, like that's user content. That's stuff you create. And we're just going to have to, again, based on the criteria that we said at the beginning of this reading, usually or generally means yes, right? We're assuming worst case scenario. So they do have the potential to collect and store the contents of video calls or voice calls. So what does retain for a short period thumbnail mean? I would assume, yeah, that it's stored during the stream itself. We might see something like that later on in the like retention part of the policy. I don't know if they get into that specifically, but my assumption on how they're phrasing that is that they store it so that other people can see it while the stream is occurring. And then when the stream is done, then it's removed. Because saving a bunch of thumbnails takes up a ton of data. And I can't imagine they want to store all of that. Payment information. If you buy any paid services through Discord, you need to submit a valid payment method and associated billing information, including your full name and billing address. Our payment processors, like Stripe and PayPal, receive and process your payment information. Depending on the processor, we may also receive and store certain billing information, including the last 4 digits of the credit card number associated with the transaction. If you sell something through Discord, you may be required to provide additional information to our payment processors, such as bank account information to facilitate payments, tax identification information, and copies of government-issued identification required to identify users in accordance with regulatory obligations. If we decide to process our own payments in the future, we would receive and process this information ourselves. So this, as some people called out, implies that payment information is shared because they're sharing it with payment processors like Stripe and PayPal. So we are going to be marking off financial information, and we're going to be marking that off as orange because that is shared data. And everything in here would be related to the financial information there. Do we see anything about purchases, purchase history? I don't see it. It's kind of it's tough. I do like them to explicitly call out purchase history, so I'm not going to mark it here. I will say though that your full name and billing address would go to those third parties as well. So we are going to do contact information there. And billing address arguably is your location. So we'll mark that too. Yes, I do use Discord. Camwing is the reason he won't let me leave. No, a lot of creators use Discord. It's one of those, like, if I wasn't a YouTuber, I wouldn't have one. Like, just full transparency. It's not because I dislike this privacy policy for full transparency. I actually like how they write this, ultimately. I just don't particularly care for the platform as a whole. So, sensitive information is actually pretty far into, like, really sensitive information, like your disability status, religious beliefs, trade union membership, biometric data, genetic information, stuff like that. Whereas financial information is specifically anything related to your credit card information, stuff like that. So I agree that financial information can be sensitive information, but we're using the categories that are sort of structured by the California Consumer Privacy Act, and sensitive information is pretty specifically defined as, like, characteristics about you, versus financial information is just, it causes problems if that gets leaked, but it's not quite the same thing. Oh, yeah. Sensitive information, I think, came up in the Google privacy policy, if I'm not mistaken. I also know that it came up during... I know it comes up in Metas for next week. I know for a fact it's in Metas. I'm fairly certain Meta specifically does call out pregnancy. Oh, also, like, all of the car companies from the main channel video that came out yesterday, all of them touch on sensitive information, like literally all of them. Oh yeah, that mattress. What was that mattress company? They definitely did. So yeah. Well, and that's the thing. If they infer it that legally, like from the California Consumer Privacy Act, if they infer it, that counts as collected. So even if they infer it, they have to identify it, which is kind of interesting. Anyways, let's get back to this. Information from actions you take. We collect information about your use of Discord and the activities on the services. This includes information such as the friends you add, the users, bots, and apps you engage with, the servers or other communities you join and participate in, your roles in servers, content moderation decisions you made, information about purchases, hey, there we go, or sales you make through Discord, including what you purchased or sold, and other related actions. We may also collect limited information from your device while Discord is running, such as the game you are playing. You can control the extent which we collect, use, and display this information as described in the How to Control Your Privacy section below. Okay, really quick. I would love to call out. So first off, let's mark these off. Usage data is how you use the service, right? But they do call out purchase history as well, which is fun. Cool. Okay. If you don't know, you can request your information from Discord directly. Like, you can say, hey, can I have a copy of my data? I highly recommend you do it because it really puts this section into perspective as to what that means. I've wanted to show this off for a long time, but there's not really a great way of doing it without, like, doxing myself, because it is, like, a lot of information. So this sentence here, collect limited information from your device while Discord is running, that includes regular check-ins that occur, I think, every 5 minutes if Discord is running in the background. So like anytime you click on a thing, that is notated, right? That's like collected data. You can see the timestamp, the location, everything. And then not only that, like anytime you click anything in Discord, also if it's just sitting in the background and you're not actively using it, they do that check-in every 5 minutes. If you use a VPN halfway through your session with Discord, they can not only see the original IP address you were communicating from, but also the new one. So you can they can actually see when you switch to a VPN if you're using it system wide, which is crazy. So like this sentence, it's really hard to understand what it looks like until you request that data yourself, and I highly recommend it. It takes like 30 days to get it because it's a ton of information, but like you'll see every time you clicked on a channel to look at, they list with timestamps, location, IP address, like everything. Every time that you react to a message, anytime that you go into a text channel, anytime that you go into a voice channel. It is fascinating. And it's really, really interesting. And it's actually part of the reason Discord doesn't encourage users to use third-party services to access Discord, because those apps have access to the exact same data, and the amount of data that it actually is terrifying. Like, imagine giving all of this. So like, we're already like talking about like Discord having access to all of this information, right? Imagine that being handed off to some random third-party developer that you could be doing anything with that data, that could be selling that information without telling you. Like, there's a reason you shouldn't use Discord third-party apps, like, to access Discord itself, because that app can access all of that information I just talked about. And it's specifically this sentence, which is like way underplaying what it actually is. So again, if you haven't already, request your information from Discord so you can like actually see what this sentence looks at, because it's like, it's so much data. It's so much data. It's crazy. Information from optional features. Certain features, like contact syncing, may require that you provide additional information or grant us such information for them to work. This includes if you choose to interact with our sponsored content, enable integrations, or authorize third-party services to share data with us. For example, when you link a music streaming or game account, we may collect information about that account, such as the song you were listening to or the game you're playing, in order to display that information on your profile or your status if you have chosen to do so. So we're going to work that off as contact information, or contacts, because they can access your contacts if you allow them to. Yeah, you need to be like ridiculously careful with modded clients, like insanely cautious. Like, there's a reason Discord doesn't allow it and can ban your account for it, because they collect an insane amount of data, and they know that. They know how dangerous it is. Like, if you request your information from Discord, all of that data, all of it, any modded client will have the access to the exact same data. It is so much more than you're expecting. I promise you. Like, you definitely should not be using modded clients. Let's see here. I'm going to count linking third-party services as other data. So, just because that doesn't really fit into any of the other categories. That's a good point. If the modded client is open sourced, you can validate how they use that data. But like, they're a mediator between you and the data. Like, I highly discourage it. There's so much room for error with that kind of thing. You know, like, that is such an easy way to get your account breached, to have incredibly sensitive information taken about you. Again, IP addresses, all of your messages, anytime that you react to anything, like everything. There is so much room for error. So just because it's open source, and actually, I'm going to be talking about this in the next video. Just because it's open source doesn't mean that it's fine. I have found so many open source apps recently that do insane things, and nobody checks. Nobody looks. Because it's open source. Why would anybody lie on open source? It's... No, I'm telling you, just because it's open source, that does not mean it's okay. Discord in the browser does actually make a big difference. Yes, good question. It is definitely significantly less data. I'm still doing some validation on the code checks. I literally have a developer helping me with the next video because I'm not amazing at reading code. So I will give examples in that video, but I'm still validating things right now. Other information you provide to us directly. You may have the option to submit additional information as you use Discord. For example, you may participate in surveys when you provide feedback on the services or submit information to our Discord support teams. Again, we're just going to call that other data. Information we collect automatically. We also collect information automatically when you use Discord. This includes information about your device. Oh, here we go. We collect information about the device you are using to access the service. For example, this includes information like your IP address, operating system information, browser information, and information about your device settings, such as your microphone and/or camera. Nothing new to add there. That falls under usage data and identifiers, and technically location for the IP address. Information about your use of the apps or websites. For example, we collect log and event information related to how and when you use our services. This is what I was talking about. So such as the pages, servers, and channels you visit, the activities you engage with, the features you use, and the surfaces or embedded content you interact with. Look, like if you click a picture to make it full screen, that's documented. It's amazing. It's so detailed. It's amazing. Like, not in a good way. You know what I mean? That's what's like really, really, really frustrating to me. Discord has a predator problem, and they collect an obscene amount of data that could absolutely, this information alone would be plenty to get people in trouble that need to be arrested straight up. And they're kind of bad about it. I don't know that I would say that they're as bad as Roblox, but like they could be significantly better about this. And I know that they try, but like you'll see when you get that information back, it is insane that they actively have bot problems and predator problems. Like honestly, it's crazy to me. And again, that's going to count as usage data. Other information that we collect automatically. When you take certain actions on other sites, we may receive information about you. For example, when we advertise Discord on third-party platforms, if you click on the ad, we may receive information about which ad you saw and on which platform. So we're technically going to call that browsing data since they can see information about the other places that you have next or have clicked on. Similarly, we may also receive certain information when you click on a referral link, such as which website you came from. Again, that's browsing data. We may receive information from cookies, which are small text files placed on your computer or device. I'll have a link to that in the description of this video if you want to learn how cookies actually work. And similar technologies. You can find out more about Discord's cookie usage and how you can manage your cookie permissions in our cookie policy. Roblox is on the list, but we're doing meta next, and then we're going to start looking at some of the car policies from the main video that went up. Just as a heads up, we'll get there eventually. I promise. We're doing these every week, so we will get through the list. I promise. It's just going to take some time. Let's see here. Information we receive from other sources. We may receive information about you from other sources, including from other users and third parties, and combine that information with the other information we have about you. For example, if you interact with our social media account on another platform, we may receive certain information about you, like your username on that platform. Similarly, when we advertise on other services, we receive information about your engagement with those ads. We may also receive information about you from advertisers and third-party data providers, such as demographic information and how you engage with our products and services outside of Discord. Let's see here. I am going to count demographic information as sensitive information. Actually, that's a good question. Are we going to look back at the differences between the privacy policies? So in this case, no, because Discord actually does offer, I'm just getting us back to the same spot so I don't forget where we are. Okay. Discord does actually have archived versions of all of their privacy policies. They do make it shockingly easy to find these. So for that, no. And look how they don't update this very frequently. It's actually kind of nice. You can use a diff like website that like looks at two documents and then finds the differences between the two. It's usually small stuff. But this generally is because they offer all of the previous versions. I don't feel that there's a need to necessarily, because this is the most up-to-date version, you know. How we use your information. Under certain data protection laws like the GDPR, companies must have a legal basis or a valid reason to process your personal information. Discord relies on different legal bases to provide your information for the purposes described in this privacy policy. We use the information we collect, account information, content you create, payment information, information from actions you take, information used to enable optional features, other information you provide directly to us, information about your device, information about your use of the apps or websites, other information we collect automatically, and information we receive from other sources. Using a programming diff tool would absolutely work with that. If you just copy and paste the text, it works exactly the same. Daniel, I will get to your question just after I finish this section. For the following reasons, and according to these legal bases where applicable. For each reason, we describe how we process your information to achieve each purpose. This processing can include use of automated technologies such as machine learning systems that help us power and improve our services. In certain jurisdictions, we rely on consent, implied or express, to collect, use, and disclose personal information subject to limited exceptions. As a result, the legal bases below may not apply to you. Please see information about local privacy laws, page located here. A yawn animation's a good idea. Okay, let me read Dana's question. Up until now, what is the privacy policy you've made a video on that scared you the most? That's a tough one. I think Anthropic probably. I think OpenAI's was pretty annoying, but Anthropic specifically because there was that whole kerfuffle with like the US government where they were like, we're not working with Anthropic because they won't let us use AI to kill people. And then OpenAI was like, oh, we'll do that. But like, if you read the privacy policy, they share data with Palantir, who uses data to kill people. So I'm like, what's the difference? I think that was probably like the most alarming one to me, was that like Anthropic was getting all of this good press for standing up to the government, but they didn't, they don't. It's just being handed off to a third party that does that for them. So, yeah, I don't know. What other ones have we read? Yeah, I guess Palantir themselves don't do it, but you know what I mean. It's like technically not directly giving it to the government, but it is just with extra steps. You know what I mean? Like Palantir absolutely works very closely with the U.S. government, so it's like I don't know what the difference is. Anyways, God, yeah, what other policies have we done? I don't even remember. My brain is like so cooked. There's so many of these to read. Let's see here. We've done Steam. Steam was actually kind of fun. I liked that one. Google, Proton. I hated reading Protons so much. Oh, Palantir absolutely has a privacy policy. That is absolutely on the list. Let's see here. Oh yeah, we did Amazon's. That one was interesting because it was a really fantastic example as to why the privacy visualizer doesn't work as a summarizer. Because like Amazon technically doesn't sell user data according to the CCPA because Amazon owns every kind of company. So they don't technically need to sell it to third parties because they own who they give it to. So it's technically shared in-house, which is kind of like BS if you ask me. But Amazon's was definitely interesting. Yeah, we definitely have some fun ones coming up, for sure. Meta definitely is one of those ones where it's just like, are you serious? This is crazy. Yeah, I made a Blender template for the thumbnails, so I can just swap out the I'll show you. So it's literally just like, this is the one that we're doing next week. So I just changed like the color and I add the little logos and it's just really straightforward. I love it. Anyways. All right, let's finish up this policy. Oh, we'll do the reject convenience one soon. Don't worry. That's an easy one. I did that one other than Patreon. That was one of the most requested ones from the Patreon, was like my own website, which I thought was hysterical. And you know what? Valid. I'll take it. Okay. To fulfill our contract with you, to provide you with the services, we use your information to provide you with the Discord services. For example, when you start a video call, we process your images and audio to make that work. We similarly collect and store the messages you send and display them as you direct. That makes sense. We also use the information you provide to us to create and manage your account to facilitate purchases. When you enable optional features like connecting your Discord account to other platforms, we use information to power that feature, like displaying what song you were listening to or game you are playing on another service within the Discord app. The face changing with the thumbnails, not a bad idea. The trouble is, at least on the live stream part, I have recently started to go blind into them, so I don't always know necessarily how bad it is. Discord I have read before, so I kind of know what to expect out of this one. But yeah, no, that's a good suggestion. I like that. Thank you. Okay. To meet our commitment to the Discord community, we work hard to try to make Discord a safe, positive, and inclusive place. To do so, we use information to monitor for and take action against users and content that violate our terms of service, community guidelines, and other policies. They try. They fall short in a lot of ways, but they try. This includes responding to user reports, generating transcripts of content as part of our investigation, detecting fraud and malware, God, they need to do better with that one specifically, and proactively scanning attachments and other content for illegal or harmful activity. Again, oh my God, they need to get better about that. We also use certain information which may include content reported to us, content that violates our terms of service, and certain other content widely available on the services, such as public posts, usernames, avatars, banners, user profiles, server names, server icons, and server banners, to create systems and models that can be automated to more swiftly to detect to create systems and models that can be automated to more swiftly detect, categorize, and take action against prohibited content or conduct. I'm not planning to reread policies unless the changes are like substantially different. Usually it's just adjustments in language to comply with new laws. It's rarely that they add something that's like, oh, we're going to be collecting a whole new, host of categories of data and selling it. Like that I think would be fine to reread, but most of the time that's not the case. There is a mouse pad. Look at that there's a big sneaky mouse pad covering this whole desk. One of those desk mouse pads, which I do have. To contact you, we use your information to contact you in connection with your account, such as to verify or secure it with two-factor authentication. We may also use your information to contact you about important product or policy changes and to send you information about products you have purchased. The big thing that you missed, you should request your data from Discord so you can see how much they collect. It's fascinating. Highly recommend it. To provide customer service, we use your information to respond to your questions about our products and services and to investigate bugs or other issues. And then for our legitimate business interests, to protect our services, we use your information to keep our services secure, to prevent misuse, and to enforce our terms of service and other policies against users who violate them, to report on our company's performance. We use your information to track the fundamental metrics of our business, to perform financial reporting, to respond to regulatory obligations, and to debug billing issues. I think Amazon's policy does not contain Twitch, if I'm not mistaken. If someone can double check that policy, that would be amazing. I don't think it does. I think Twitch is its own thing. Sorry, I was just figuring out where I left off. Discord web would be the best experience, privacy-wise. Asterisk, make sure that you change like privacy settings that the service like offers you directly, but from a system like check-in thing, the browser's generally going to be better. Yeah. Meta is next. And for everybody that doesn't know, the Patreon Discord votes on which policy is next. They voted on the next 5 policies. Actually, that's not true. It was starting with the previous one, the 5 next policies. So the next 3, I guess. Ugh, good luck for talking to insurance for claims. That is the worst. I wish you the best of luck. To personalize the product, we use your information to personalize our services. This can include customizing your experience on Discord so that you see communities, activities, applications, features, or promotions from us, or other content that may be of interest to you. As discussed in the How to Control Your Privacy section below, you can choose to what extent we will use your personal information to personalize your Discord experience. to deliver relevant sponsored content. We use your information to help us surface sponsored content like quests or other sponsored formats that may be of interest to you. Again, as discussed in the How to Control Your Privacy section below, you can choose to what extent we will use your personal information to personalize your Discord experience. To improve our services, here's a new one we get to add. We use your information to help us understand how users interact with our services, what features or products users may want, to develop features that make Discord safer and better to use, or to otherwise understand and improve our services. This includes information about how you use our services and how servers are structured. We may also use certain content that is widely available to better understand, for example, what topics servers cover and what content is most interesting within those servers. That's fascinating. That's really interesting. I don't remember that one from before. Similarly, you can limit to what extent we use personal information for these purposes. We're going to count that as diagnostics because that is a way to improve the functionality of their services. To advertise our services on Discord and other platforms, we are proud of the product we've built. We may tell you about our paid services and other features directly in the services and through our own channels, and we spend money advertising Discord on other platforms. As a part of that, we use certain information to assist the delivery of our advertising, to measure the effectiveness of advertisements for our own products, and to improve such advertisements in the future. I want to make a whole video about how advertising actually works, because I don't think most people know. It's really interesting. To contact you, we may use information to let you know about products or services we think you'll like, to ask you for feedback about our services, or to tell you about experiments that might interest you. You may opt out of receiving such marketing communications. Where local laws require, we will obtain your consent before sending such communications. To comply with our legal obligations, we use your information in connection with potential legal claims when necessary and for compliance, regulatory, and auditing purposes. For example, we retain information where we are required by law, or if we were compelled to do so by a court order or regulatory body. Also, when you exercise any of your applicable legal rights to access, amend, or delete your personal information, we may request additional information from you for the purpose of your confirming your identity. If I'm being honest, I think this last thing is completely fine, and I don't know why people get up in a tizzy when they need to validate that it's you asking that you delete your information, you know? They don't want to be deleting other people's stuff. I think that's completely fair. With your consent, we may also collect and use personal information with your consent, such as to send you marketing communications and personalized sponsored content where legally required. You can revoke your consent at any time, mostly through our services directly, though note that you might not be able to use any service or feature that requires collection or use of that personal information. Fun fact, Discord does scrub a lot of metadata. We're going to get into that in the next video, funny enough. Yeah, spoiler for the next video, be careful about what permissions you give apps when it comes to your photos. There's way more information in there than you think. And then lastly, to protect someone's vital interests, we may collect or share personal data if we think that someone's life is in danger, for example, to help preserve an urgent medical situation. So that's fascinating. Urgent medical situation implies health data, and also counts as shared because they specifically say that they're going to share it right there. So that's fun. That's crazy. I don't remember that one. So something that I want to keep in mind is that metadata matters when you're uploading it, but it also matters when you don't upload it. Just keep that in mind. If you give them access to your photo library, you don't have to upload it. Just keep that in mind. All right, here we go. Now we're getting to the next section. This is a fun one. I agree that they mean when someone calls an ambulance on their buddy, but because they specifically specify urgent medical situation, that does mean that they can infer health statuses and situations, which absolutely counts as health data. The Alone Alex, yes, we will be looking at that in next week's privacy policy reading. But the answer to your question is yes, absolutely, they do. It is literally in their privacy policy. It's crazy. Okay, how we disclose your information when you tell us to. When you add your content to the services, you are telling us to create content that is available to certain people or communities. Who can access that information is determined by who can access that particular space. For servers, those permissions are set by the server owners or admins. They control whether a server requires an invite link or is open and accessible to anyone. And these permissions, like the size of the server, may change over time. Similarly, if you link your Discord account through a third-party service, like a music streaming service or gaming platform, or Patreon, notably, keep that in mind. Embed content, interact with third-party content posted on Discord, interact with other users on other services who have linked their account, or participate in a server that has third-party features like bots enabled. Again, Patreon's a good example. We may provide certain information to that service or to other Discord users that operate that content service or feature. So for example, when somebody signs up for my Patreon and they have their Discord paired up to their Patreon account, I can see their Discord username. And they also automatically get added to the Patreon Discord server. So by having that integration, I, as a creator, can see, even if you specifically don't want to join my server, or if I didn't even have a server, I would still be able to see your username. So that's, that's an example of a third party being able to access additional information outside of Discord. Additionally, if you purchase goods or services from other users on Discord, we may disclose certain information to these users in order to facilitate the delivery of goods and services, or help them understand and improve their business. We may also disclose your information as you otherwise instruct us or provide us to your consent to do so. Okay. So purchases, we're going to mark as shared. We also saw user content as a huge chunk of this. We're going to mark other data for the third-party services, because again, we didn't have a great category for that. I just want to double check. Sorry, I don't write notes ahead of time anymore, so I just want to make sure that I'm getting all of these correct. In a server that has, we may provide. Okay, I think we're good on that one. With our vendors, we may provide information to vendors we hire to carry out specific work for us. This includes payment processors like Stripe and PayPal. We already got that from an earlier section. That process transactions on our behalf, and cloud providers like Google that host our data and services. Ooh, that's interesting. That host our data and our services. That's like everything, isn't it? Let's keep reading. But that by itself implies everything is shared, right? Because it's their data and the services. The services cover everything in this policy. Anyways, we may also provide limited information to advertising platforms to help reach people we think will like our products and to measure the performance of our ads shown on those platforms. We do this to help bring more users to Discord and make our business more successful and provide only the information required to facilitate those services. This information may include the fact that you have installed our app or registered to use the Discord. So we definitely are going to count that as identifiers and usage data, because the fact that you have the app installed is information related to your usage of the service, and then registered for an account would imply that they could identify you specifically. We may also provide information to analytics and measurement partners to measure the effectiveness of sponsored content if you engage with it, for example, by starting a quest or clicking on other sponsored content. Again, that counts as usage data. I'm going to finish reading everything else, but I'm definitely, if Google hosts, if they share the data with Google to host the service, that technically feels like they would have it. But to comply with the law, we may disclose information in response to request for information if we believe disclosure is required by law, including meeting national security or law enforcement requirements. Where allowed and feasible, we may attempt to provide you with prior notice before disclosing your information in response to a request. Our transparency report has additional information about how we respond to requests from government and law enforcement entities. We are going to actually have a quick peek at this, because I think this is actually one of the cool things that not a lot of services do. Do I have to download it? Really? Used to be able to just look at it. Ugh, whatever. Okay, fine. Download it. I don't care. 26. Okay, so I see they break it up into categories. So child safety, they had disabled 800,000 accounts for terrible content. Holy cow, that's crazy. 100,000. Oh my God. This is actually legitimately depressing, because that's a lot and they still have a predator problem. That's crazy. This was just this year, or last year, I guess. I hate this. I hate that I looked at this. This is crazy. Holy cow. 3 million accounts for deceptive practices. So stealing people's information. Hateful conduct. That's crazy that being actually promoting hate speech on Discord is 4 times less problematic than child CSAM. That's crazy. That's horrifying. That's insane. Oh my God. 6 accounts for misinformation. That's interesting. Wow, that's wild. So yeah, the transparency reports, holy cow, that's crazy. Oh, here we go. Here's even more specific examples. Actions taken on accounts, 1.6 million actions, 800,000 accounts were turned off. That is the almost, other than platform manipulation, that is the highest category. That's horrible. Holy cow. That's evil. Oh my God. I kind of regret looking at this a little bit, because I was already very upset about this sort of thing. Holy cow. You can definitely still request things in comments and stuff. It gets added to the pool, so please still suggest things. It's just that I let Patreons vote on what's next, kind of thing. So that's kind of the way that I look at it. We will get to things eventually, so just keep that in mind. Once we get through these really big popular ones, it's going to be a lot easier to get to those smaller services. Yeah, this is horrifying. But transparency, that's exactly right, D-Unknown. This is transparent. I actually do appreciate that they're actually showing us how how big of a problem this is. Like, holy cow. Like, I cannot believe that that is the most problematic category. That hurts my brain. Blue Sky is on the list, yes. So yeah, transparency reports. Those are available for free. Yeah, wow. That's crazy. So, like, that's the thing, right? That information, they do claim, is shared with the law. That is as a part of, to comply with the law, that's part of their, that's part of the transparency report. They shared this information. I knew it was a problem, but holy crap, 800,000 accounts for that specific type of content is like mind-bending. That's crazy. Tumblr is on the list, yes. They're towards the bottom at the moment, but yeah, they are on the list. Holy cow. And that's exactly right. So that's what they know of, but they absolutely have the capability of knowing about all of them, which is like even more scary to me. Because like, if you request your data from them, you can see they have a very, very clear picture of what kind of user you are. Wow. That blew my mind a little bit. I was not expecting it to be that problematic. That's crazy. Okay. To prevent serious harm, we may disclose information if we believe in good faith that it's necessary to prevent the death or serious harm to a person. Again, we're counting that as health is shared. That makes sense. This privacy list is insanely long. So, like, we'll get through it. We're doing one of these streams every week. It's going to take some time to get through it. There will always be something to add to it, but I promise we will get through a lot of this stuff. It's just going to take time. Remember, everybody, patience is key. Oh boy. I'm sorry. Let's take a quick water break after reading that nightmare fuel. Holy cow. Hydrate. Yeah, Roblox is definitely on the list. That one was recommended by Patreon members a lot. Okay. Oops, I need to open up my note page. There we go. Okay. Let's see. To enforce our policies and rights, we may disclose information if needed to enforce our terms of service, community guidelines, and any other policies, or to protect the rights, property, and safety of ourselves and others. With our related companies, we may provide information to our related companies, including parents, affiliates, subsidiaries, and other companies under common control and ownership. Sale, acquisition, or transfer of assets. We may disclose information if Discord is evaluating and or exchanging in a merger, acquisition, reorganization, bankruptcy, or sale, transfer, or change in ownership of Discord and or any of its assets. Aggregated or de-identified information. We may disclose information that has been de-aggregated or anonymized such that it cannot reasonably be used to identify you. For example, we may share aggregated user statistics in order to describe our business, features, or promotions to partners to the public. Data retention. We retain personal information until we determine it is no longer needed for the processing purposes for which we collected the retain or for legal compliance. You can learn more about the data retention periods here. I wish this was in the privacy policy itself. I hate it when they make a whole extra document for it, because it's not like it's updated super frequently. They could keep it in there. There's no reason to make it a separate page, but let's have a quick little peek. Age verification data is deleted within 60 days. Backups are stored for 30 to 45 days. Compliance with legal obligations. It's basically until the legal thing goes away. That's pretty common. We see that a lot on this channel. To meet our safety and security commitments, we retain certain information like your email address and phone number for 180 days after deletion for trust and safety purposes. So if you delete your account, they keep it for an additional 180 days to exercise the rights of legal claims. Again, that's just, for 5 years. Anything related to customer support inquiries and request to access information, that's retained for 5 years. Yeah. I do like that they actually have like specific case-by-case basis. Again, transparency here is actually appreciated. So yeah, when you delete your account, it can take up to 45 days. Which is cool. Anyways, I wish this was just in the policy itself. I don't love it when they separate these things into separate pages, but hey, whatever, it's there. We'll take it. Most companies don't even give specific dates, time frames like that, so we will take it. Also, just because we are past the shared information stuff, I am, because of the lack of specificity with things like all of your data of our services complying with the law, we're going to count the rest of this because we don't know. Yeah. Oh, hang on. Was that within the data retention policy? Yeah, I agree. The separating documents is just a layer of friction, which is why I was so annoyed at Proton. Oh, oops. I missed it. Oh, you said, was it in here? I'm sorry, I'm totally missing what you're talking about. Oh, I see. Continuity of our service. I'm sorry. Thank you. Whew. You can tell how good I am at reading. Let's see. If you delete your account, we continue to retain and display the content you shared with other users, but that content is no longer tied to your account. We do this in order to ensure that other users continue to have access to the content you shared with them. If you'd want to delete specific content, please do so before you delete your account. Holy cow, that sucks. You can delete specific content as described in the information you can directly delete from your services section above, or if you need help deleting content, you can write in to privacy@discord.com. If you deleted your account and you want to probably delete everything associated with it, I would highly encourage at least emailing them, seeing what they could do. But yeah, I did. Thank you for calling out for me to read that. Holy cow, that sucks. But like that. To be clear, that's also how it works on my website. If we go down to the privacy policy, anything that is posted on the forum is stored in a database for the functionality of the forum. Sorry, I'll zoom in because it's tiny. You may delete anything at any time, and any data that is deleted from the server. In the case that you've deleted your account and you want your poster removed, I do need you to email me because there's no way to just do it. You know? But like I can, like, if you email me, I will 100% like delete it for you. Like there is a way for me to do that as an administrator. So like I get why they do it because it's kind of like you're posting to a lot of public spaces. But that also includes DMs, which is harder because I don't allow DMs on my forum. I just straight up don't allow it at all. It's too tricky to manage and, you know, wrangle people in, and I just rather not deal with it, you know. But yeah, no, yeah, exactly. It's similar to platforms like Reddit, right? Like it's all not technically associated to you, but I get why they have it like that. It's a tough thing to manage. I would assume emailing them, they can help take care of it for you. But Yeah. So the reason it's all orange is because they were not super specific in categories that they share with like law enforcement or Google, who hosts their services. So we just kind of had to assume worst case scenario. Sensitive information was information about demographic information, and then health data. They specifically called out sharing information with authorities when there is a medical emergency, which I would absolutely count as health data because they can infer when they can infer medical information about you and share that information. So I think that absolutely counts. How we protect your information. We take a number of steps to help you protect your information. All information sent within our services is encrypted, both in the transit and at rest. For example, we use transport layer security, TLS, to encrypt text and images in transit. By the way, that's just how the internet works now. That's not like a unique thing to Discord. That's like the least thing. Like that's technically the bare minimum, which is stupid. Like, I don't know why they call that out, but whatever. Oh, and then we also enforce technical and administrative access controls to limit which of our employees and contractors have access to non-public personal information. Voice and video communications on Discord are designed to be end-to-end encrypted. I didn't actually know that. You can verify these calls are encrypted in that service. Learn more about Discord's end-to-end encryption. You can help maintain the security of your account by configuring two-factor authentication. That's interesting. I want to look at that really quick. All audio, DMs, group messages, and voice channels and go live streams on Discord will require end-to-end encryption starting this year. Okay, so this is a new thing. This wasn't... That's fascinating. I wonder why they changed it. That's going to have to be something I'll look into later, but that's interesting. I'm not going to middle click because I don't want to. That is good to know, though. Thank you. So that's exactly it, right? How can Discord know if there's a health emergency? That question in and of itself, because they state it, that implies that they can know information about a health emergency. Again, usually like a direct message, like 911, I'm having a heart attack. Exactly. Like that totally makes sense that like they have access to your messages. Of course, if there's an information in the messages that relate to your health information, they could access it. But I'm counting that because they can infer health statuses about you actively and act and share information about those messages. So totally counts in my opinion. Browsing data is mostly through things like cookies and your interactions with add-ons on third-party services. Super common for a lot of these services that have cookies and that have ads or place ads on other services because that inherently implies that they can see what websites you're on. Oh, right. How to control your privacy. This is a good section. I remember liking this section from the last time I read this. We believe that users should be able to tailor the Discord experience to their preferences, including privacy. While local laws may require different things, we believe that our users should have at least the same basic ability to shape their experience no matter where they are in the world. Kind of like Steam. Steam kind of said that, right? That's pretty cool. Here's how you can control how we process your information, how to delete or correct certain information, and how to access your information. Users in certain places may have specific rights under the local laws. You can learn more about these in the information about local privacy laws page. Why is that a separate page? God, why? I just want to quickly peruse this to see if we got anything. wow, let's see, collection, we collect identifiers. This is usually a table. I'm really annoyed that they do it like this. So identifiers such as your username and address used to sign up, your phone number if you've chosen to provide it, personal information categories listed under the CCRS, such as name and phone number if you've chosen to provide it, characteristics of protected classifications under California or federal law such as age, commercial information, a record of what you've bought from Discord, so we got that, financial data, payment information, internet or other networks, location information because of IP address, exactly, audio, electronic, visual, thermal, or factory, or other information such as photographs, video recordings, and voice recordings, account credentials such as your account login, contents of messages sent on the platform, inference data about you, like what content you may be interested in, and other information that identifies or can be reasonably associated with you. We already looked at that, so that seems to line up with what we've already looked at. And this is the other part that I care about. No sale of personal information. The CCPA sets forth obligations for businesses that sell or share personal information. Discord does not sell the personal information of our users as those terms are defined by the CCPA. Great. So that's that's something we care about the most, right? Because that's how we define the sale of data. So that's cool. So we won't see any red because in the CCPA version, they don't sell it. So that's cool. Cool. I'm gonna leave that section at that because I usually use the California version to like validate that we didn't miss anything painfully obvious. And it looks like their descriptions in the information we collect is actually good, which means that they're good at writing policies. Yay! That doesn't mean I necessarily love the contents of the policy, but like I like how it's written at the very least. It's actually transparent. We're going to take a quick water break, everybody. Correct. The visualizer won't change further. But again, that's kind of why I think it's important to not use the visualizer as a summarizer, because this doesn't tell the whole picture. Like if you've watched the whole stream, you know. Like that doesn't do it justice. I think technically usage data does count some of the search data because like you can search for things in Discord, but that is more of a usage function versus a search function. This kind of implies like what you search on the internet. So it doesn't really count. You know what though? There is one thing that I'm thinking about that might qualify as search data. I just have to find it really quick. So safe features, blah, blah, blah. We believe the Discord. Server discovery section of the app. Can you search with that function? Because I would count that as search if that does work with. Actually, I don't even know how you. Oh, here, I can just pull it up right here. There is a search bar right there. So if I type in Minecraft as an example, a ton of Minecraft. Yeah, I am absolutely counting search based on that. The server discovery section absolutely covers that. Cool. Thanks, everybody. Much appreciated. So yeah, we are absolutely counting that. And again, you can access them on public websites. Cool. Nice. We got a full bingo. We got full orange bingo. We love it. Oh, is the search... So let's actually... Yeah, let's try that. Yeah, we don't know that it's shared necessarily. But to do the function itself. Oh, you know what? I will request my data really quick, since that's one of the last things that I did. So let me do that request really quick. Request my data and give me everything. Request my data. Takes up to 30 days. It seriously does take like 30 days. So I will pin a comment in the cut version of this video. We're going to leave search blank for the rest of this. Just because I don't specifically know. But when I get my data from Discord, I will look to see if that search for Minecraft in the Discover feature is in there. So we will be able to correct that once the that data comes through. Because I think that the community stuff, I think definitely counts. I think like within the server, I don't know that I would count that. But like discovering a new thing, I would totally count. I haven't seen anything about Palantir yet. So, let's see here. Okay, so control privacy. We read that. Be aware of the Discord spaces you choose to participate in. You can choose what spaces to participate in and what information you add to our services. You can choose what messages to send and post, who to engage with, example, one or more particular users or potentially unlimited groups of users, what information to include in your profile, whether to connect with any third-party services to your Discord account, and more. For example, if you share content in certain spaces, such as servers listed in server directory with public invite links, your content may be accessed by anyone. Customize your personal Discord settings. We offer a number of settings that allow you to tailor your experience within Discord. Some of these relate to specific features. For example, you can choose whether to display your current activity, like the game you're playing or the music you're listening to, in your status in your user's settings page, this gear icon next to your username. You can also access privacy-related settings in your user settings. For example, you can decide whether to filter potentially explicit content, who can add you as a friend, and more. This is also where you can limit certain types of processing of your information. Limit our ability to use your data to improve our services. We offer certain settings that allow you to limit the information we collect to help us understand how users use our services, what features or products they may want, or to otherwise help improve our business. If you turn off these settings, we will stop collecting and using new information about how you use and or navigate Discord in order to understand and improve our services as described in these settings. That's interesting. They only mention new information, so they'll still totally use the old information. Limit our ability to personalize Discord for you. We offer certain settings that control whether and how we may personalize Discord for you, such as offering you relevant recommendations for in-app content and features or delivering relevant sponsored content. If these settings are disabled, we will no longer use information specific to your account to power features that personalize Discord for you as described in these settings. You can learn more about other privacy-related settings in our Help Center or in the User Settings menu within Discord. The default and availability of some of these settings may be different depending on factors like your age or location. Disable or delete your account. You can disable or delete your account via the User Settings menu. Disabling your account stops the processing of new data, but allows you to reactivate your account without interruption to you. Deleting your account permanently deletes identifying information and anonymizes other data described in our data retention policy. You can learn more about how to delete your account in this Help Center article and how to disable your account in this Help Center article. Manage your account and servers. You may edit or delete specific pieces of information within the services. You can edit or delete any messages you have sent or content you have posted if you still have access to the space where you posted it. You can edit. That's interesting. So if you get kicked from a server, your data could stay there in theory if they choose not to delete your information, which is fascinating. That would be one of those cases I'd assume you could reach out to their support to get that deleted. But yeah, that's really something to keep in mind. Like, do be careful about what you share and where you share it, because it could genuinely remain permanent. That's really interesting. You can edit or delete a Discord server if you have permissions needed to do so, and you can edit or delete a channel from Discord server if you have the permissions needed to do so. Content may be retained by Discord for use as described elsewhere in this policy and in our data retention policy. Also, in limited circumstances, we may have legal obligation to retain certain information even if you delete the information on your account. Yeah, we definitely looked through some of that. Ugh, God. Access your information. If you want to see what information we've collected about you, you can request a copy of your data in the data and privacy section of your user settings. I literally just did this a couple minutes ago. Super easy. You should do it. You will receive your data packet within 30 days. Data is delivered in commonly digital formats, including JSON and any other file format used when you uploaded attachments to the service. You can learn more about how to access your information in our help center. Sorry. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting through the saucy stuff, the international data transfers, the EEAs, the good stuff. So let's take a quick water break, everybody. Drink some fluids, get hydrated, and we'll get through The Last of Us. Yes, it is a lot of data. I do highly encourage you request your data if you haven't done it. Discord takes like 30 days. It's crazy. Like, Discord genuinely takes forever to get this data aggregated and sent to you. I have no idea why it takes so long. Yeah, like other platforms are like nearly instantaneous. So just something to keep in mind. Oh, you know what else? I think it was Snapchat. When I did that a few years back, that took forever to get that data. That one was like 45 days. That one was bad. Google was pretty quick. Google was only a few days, if I recall. And that was like, what, 15-year-old Google account? Like, that was a lot of data. Apple was also relatively quick from what I recall. That one was actually really helpful for me to like understand how they anonymize data. Most companies don't show how they anonymize data, but Apple actually does, which I thought was really cool. Anyways, water break. Water animation is such a good idea. Oh my God. Posture check. You know what? Good catch. You got me. You got me when you got me. My posture was terrible. I was sat like a shrimp. Yes, exactly. Yeah, you nailed it. See, posture check. That's a good one. I like that. I don't even think about that most of the time. That's a great check. It's so easy to slump. Alrighty, let's get through The Last of Us. We're almost done, everybody. International data transfers. We are based in the United States, and we process and store information on servers located in the United States. We may also store information on servers and equipment in other countries depending on a variety of factors, including the locations of our users and service providers. These data transfers allow us to provide our services to you. By accessing or using our services or otherwise providing information to us, you understand that your information will be processed, transferred, and stored in the US and other countries where different data protection standards may apply, and or you may not have the same rights as you do under local law. When transferring data outside the EEA, We use standard contract clauses, Module 1 and Module 2, and we rely on the European Commission's adequacy decisions about certain countries as applicable or other legally compliant mechanisms or conditions for such data transfers. Oh boy, this is always the one that gets me. All these acronyms. Discord and its U.S. entities / subsidiaries, Backgammon Merger Sub 2 LLC, Brazos Game LLC, Discord International Incorporated, Flame Sub LLC, and Centropy Technologies Incorporated also comply with the EU, US, and Swiss-US data privacy frameworks, as well as the UK extension to the EU-US data privacy framework. If you have questions or complaints regarding our compliance with the data privacy framework principles, you may reach to us at privacy@discord.com. If we do not resolve your complaint, you may submit your complaint in accordance with the section titled Settling Disputes Between You and Discord in our Terms of Service. Under certain conditions specified by the data privacy framework principles, you may also be able to invoke binding arbitration for you to resolve your complaint. We are subject to the investigatory and enforcement powers of the U.S. Federal Trade Commission. In certain circumstances, we may be liable for the transfer of personal data from the EU, Switzerland, and or the UK to a third party outside those countries. In compliance with the EU-US DPF and the UK extension to the EU-US DPF and the Swiss-US DPF, Discord commits to cooperate and comply, respectively, with the advice of the panel established by the EU Data Protection Authorities, DPAs, and the US Enforcement Commissioner's Office, ICO, and the Swiss Federal Data Protection and Information Commissioner, FDPIC. With regard to unresolved complaints concerning our handling of personal data received in reliance on the EU-US DPF and the UK extensions to the EU-US DPF and the Swiss-US DPF. Holy cow. This is always like the most like mind-numbing section. Yeah, exactly. The strike of the DPF again. We got hit with this last week too. Oh, God. For more information about the data privacy framework principles and to view our certification, please visit the U.S. Department of Commerce's data privacy framework site. I didn't even look into that this week. I meant to do that. Whatever. In order to learn more about the specific rights you may have regarding the international transfer of your personal data, please consult the relevant standard contract clauses or adequacy decisions, or reach out to us at privacy@discord.com. The rights listed under Exercise Your Rights will always apply regardless of whether your data is transferred or not. I'm going to say DPF, I think, more in my life than anybody else on the planet after reading all of these policies. Listen, Vista background slaps. Like, Vista was bad, don't get me wrong, but that background, Aereo, looked kind of good. Gonna be real. I liked the way it looked. It functioned like dog eggs, but it looked good. That's my hot take for the day. What happened with the Chicago 95 theme? I just like mixing it up a little bit. I like looking at, I want to feel like, my computer's like a fresh thing that I get to be excited to use. I change my wallpaper every day. I have it automated to do that. So I get to experience a new theme all the time. Not a hot take area, it's just gorgeous. You know what? Fair point. That maybe not. See, yeah, Aereo theme. Ooh, you know what? I might do that. But that's the thing, it doesn't look good in all cases. And sometimes I want it to look good. Okay. Services offered by third parties. We allow third-party developers to build certain features or other services and offer them to within the Discord services, or to incorporate certain Discord-powered features or functions into their services. For example, server administrators can add bots created by a third-party developer that provide features like content moderation and interactive games. Similarly, you may have access to your Discord friends. I'm not a big fan of KDE stuff. I'm gonna be real. That one might be a hot take. Let's see here. Similarly, you may have access to your Discord friends list or managing capabilities in third-party games or games by or activities built by third parties offered within the Discord services. That's interesting. So if I'm reading that correctly, third-party games and activities have access to your friends list and messaging capabilities. That's fascinating. Please keep that in mind. If you are using games or activities, in theory, that developer has access to your friends list. That's interesting. These third-party services need to follow all policies that apply to them, including often our developer terms of service and developer policy. As part of these policies, we require developers to have a privacy policy that makes it clear what they do with your information. Please review these privacy policies. Jeez. So, okay, hang on. So when you go into Discord and it's shouting in your face to do an activity, do they like present you with the privacy policy before you click that activity? Is that a thing? Because like, if they're asking you to review the policies before you interact with them, that's messed up. That's crazy. Wait, hang on. I'm gonna test this really quick. I'm pretty sure it requires your consent. Okay, good. I'm gonna do this in the Patreon Discord, I guess. I don't know. Do we have activities? I don't think we do. How does that work? I don't even know. Okay. That's good to know. I've never used that function. Oh, /Wordle. Good call. Good call. Let's see here. I am presented with I hate this cutesy little. Okay, so I'm just gonna share this really quick. This is look at this. So access to your username, avatar, and banner, the servers you're in. Remember, so like there's a good chunk of data here. Send you direct messages. Paint happy little trees. I hate how cutesy that is. That drives me nuts personally. I'm gonna click cancel. They do link to the privacy policy right there. So that is good to know. That is a thing. So that's good to know. See, it's nice that I can just pull it up on, so that's actually pretty nice. Cool, okay. So it's good, so I agree, please review the privacy policies that you were presented to do so. I respect that, I can appreciate that. As they describe what third-party services may do with your information, we also require that certain popular apps apply for access to certain data. But because these services are operated by third parties, we don't control them or what information they collect. What? That's fascinating. That's such interesting language there. It is up to you whether you participate in a server or other spaces that use apps and whether to engage with third-party services in general. Yeah, I've never actually used any of those apps before. That was literally the first time I've ever tested one before. So that was interesting. Okay. Data protection officers. You can contact Discord Netherlands BV Data Protection Officer at dpo@discord.com. We've approved VeriSafe as Discord's representative in the UK for data protection matters pursuant to Article 27 of the UK General Data Protection Regulation. You see the contact us section below. You can contact VeriSafe only on matters related to the processing of your personal data. Information about local privacy laws. Certain locations, such as the European Union's data protection, General Data Protection Regulations, GDPR, Brazil's Lei General de Protecção de Dados. I'm sorry, I don't speak Portuguese. Oh, a little critter on the desk is such a good idea. Oh, Katie messaged that to me too. That's such a good suggestion. That, the water break animation, I can do those all before next stream. That's easy enough. Oh, little kitty, you're so Portuguese. I love that. Who did that animation? I know it's Markiplier that said it, but there was a really cute animation that somebody did with it. So good. I have a thought for a critter. Don't you worry. Don't you fret. Da, 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 da. I don't remember what we read, so I'm just going to start this section. Oh, I got through the Brazil part. And California's Consumer Privacy Act, CCPA, to require services to provide information about the information they collect, how they use it, and the lawful basis for processing it. We've described most of that already in earlier portions of this privacy policy, but you can find state and region information disclosures here. We already looked at that. Markiplier. Oh, we love Markiplier. Ooh, having it read super chats is a fun idea. Okay, I would love everybody's take on this really quick. I have not allowed TTS, like it won't read your message out loud, because most of those services now, like almost entirely use AI generated voices that like I am not comfortable with. Like most of the like classic integrations. So I could look for one that doesn't use generative AI or like is not trained on like, I don't know, anything after 2022 is like kind of sketch to me. Sam TTS, I do like that. Okay. Ooh, okay. There's some good suggestions in here. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I don't like the automated, like, not automated, but the AI generated stuff. It makes me uncomfortable. I wouldn't do that to begin with, but I do like the idea of having messages read out. So cool. All right, we'll look into that later. It would be hilarious if it was Bonsai Buddy. Holy cow, that's hysterical. I could record myself saying words. That's interesting. Make it a Vocaloid like Miku? That'd be cool. All right, we're going to keep going, but I do appreciate some of the suggestions. Would Animal Crossing? See, that's the thing with Animal Crossing. I'd want to be careful because I know some of them use like AI nonsense. Like I want to be just like super careful about like what I'm using. But like Microsoft Sam, that's such a... I wonder if I could get like the old version of Siri, like the original from like the iPhone 4S. I wonder if that's like a thing. That'd be cool. Oh, a guy who recorded his own Animal Crossing. That's interesting. Oh, that's really interesting. Okay. I like where this is going. I like where your brains are at. I like it. All right. We're going to keep going here. Exercising your rights. As described in the How to Control Your Privacy section above, all of our users have control over their information and can directly edit or delete information from their account and limit what data we process. If you are located in certain regions, including the European Union, you may have additional rights, such as those listed below, as outlined in the state and region-specific information, and disclosures that you can exercise through the Discord app directly or by contacting us. You have a right to access your personal data, a right to rectify your personal data if it is incorrect. Sometimes it's nice to give them incorrect data. Right to erasure of your personal data, right to limit the processing of your personal data, right to the portability of your personal data, right to object the processing of your personal data, right to withdraw consent. Withdrawing consent does not affect the lawfulness of processing based on the consent before withdrawal. If you have information about these rights or wish to exercise control over your information, please reach out to privacy@discord.com. Changes to this policy. We will update this privacy policy from time to time. We'll always indicate the date of the last changes were published. If the changes are significant, we'll provide more prominent notices as required by law, such as emailing you or highlighting the changes within the service. Like I said, I don't remember getting a pop-up for this one, so I'm assuming it was pretty minimal. Contact us. So this is just all of their contact information related to your rights, which I'm not going to read all those out because it's just a bunch of numbers and addresses. So there you go. That's it. We did it. Can we get some applause emojis in the chat? Because I did it. So yeah, that was definitely an interesting one. It's interesting because like there were parts of it that were definitely more transparent than I would have expected, and there were other parts that were more vague than I remembered. I'm surprised, like, again, when it came to like what specific information is shared with third parties, that was interesting. So can you add a color legend to the privacy visualizer? I don't, for the specific reason that I want people to use it how it makes sense for them. So like for me, it makes sense that gray is nothing, blue is data that's collected, data that's shared, and data that's sold. But someone might do it as a like, oh, which ones are the creepiest, right? So like if I was to do it that way, I would say that financial information, it's collected, it's not that creepy. Purchase information, I wouldn't call that super creepy. Health information, for emergencies, that seems valid, I think. The location, to me, is pretty normal. The contact information was fine. But there was something with usage data. I've seen that data. Like that stuff is like super specific. Actually, I know location's a part of that too. So like there's different ways that you can associate the values, and I want to give people that flexibility to use this. However, so yeah, that's why I don't add a grid. I can add it to the stream itself, like just put it up like here during the editing process, but just so it's like clear what I'm talking about during this particular video. But yeah. Do you have plans to allow anybody to join your Discord, or is it only for Patreons? It is only for Patreons because I do not want to manage a public Discord. I have seen so many creators do it, and it looks like a nightmare to me. So I am 100% keeping that locked to paid members only. If you do want to engage in a public space that I come to, the forum, sign up for the forum. It's cool. Exactly. This is where I also encourage people on the Patreon Discord to make posts in the forum, because I don't want people to, to limit information that would be good to public information. So I do encourage them to come here. It's actually the #1 rule in the server, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Yeah, rule #1, use the forum. If you're going to discuss privacy tools and techniques, I greatly encourage you to do so on the forum so that anyone can see how they might be able to improve. We're all about free and open information, and a paid wall Discord might not be the place to have these important conversations. So yeah, please use the forum. This is where I encourage like actual conversations to happen. There's definitely, local community things for the Patreon members that they do. Like they play games and stuff, but that's specific to them. Yeah, it's tough. I would love to do more platforms. If I'm being honest, it is so hard to keep up with, even just the things that I have. Like, I've had a bot problem for like ever. Like, there's not 500 people on there right now. Those are bots, and I need to fix that. Let's see here. What's the name of the mascot of this channel? Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know. Right now it's Clippy for the avatar, but I can't. Is there a privacy policy for Patreon? Yes, that is actually the one after Meta that people requested on the Patreon. They are very self-aware over there, and I respect it. So we are definitely going to be looking at Patreons in due time. No, I'm not going to show you my password. It's password. There is a privacy policy. Yeah. It's also the main page of the website. If you go to rejectconvenience.com, the worldwide website, you can see all of my core values for how I determine making videos and how I behave. My AI policy, which is no. And my privacy policy for the entire website, including the forum. So that's all there. It's all real easy. I guess I could stop recording. There's not going to be any more policy reading. There we go. Cool. Yeah, I know. I need a privacy policy because, like, I technically, if you sign up for the forum, I get your email address, right? Like, which is why I encourage you to use, you know, something else. It is highly encouraged that you use an email alias to help keep your stuff secure. I do use OBS for streams. Yeah. Have a good one, Shadow Absorber. What does mine look like on the visualizer? That's a great question. So we got, I actually organized it by the visualizer. So contact info, it's blue. User content is blue. Technically it's orange because it's like it's shared with everybody. Because like you're posting it for people to see. Then we have browsing data, which is the functionality of the cookies on the forum specifically. Then we have identifiers, which is going to be your username. So that's technically public facing. So that's technically shared. And then the other information isn't other data. This is just like telling you what services I use to make the website. So, yeah. Does OPS have a privacy policy? I am sure they do. That would not surprise me. I'm glad you found the car video helpful. We will be looking at car privacy policies in like 2 weeks. I want to get metas done next. So I would love to open source my website. I don't know how. I'm literally using a website builder. I have no idea how I would open source that. So I'm more than happy to like figure out how to do it, but I didn't like write any code. I just moved things around in a website builder because I'm not very smart. This I wrote. I can share this one. Actually, have I shared this? I don't know if I have. I wrote the code for this. I could definitely share this. So I'll make a GitHub page for that specifically. So good suggestion. I'll look into that. I'm not giving out my API token for this stuff. No way. I agree. I've taken a little bit of HTML stuff, but it doesn't click super well with me compared to, I don't know. I write bash scripts all the time. So it's like I know some stuff. This was using some Java stuff, which is not that hard to learn for something like this. Was this Java? This actually just might be HTML. logic. I don't remember how I did this. I made this years ago. I straight up don't remember how I made this. This is definitely before AI was a thing, which is awesome. I was in this, it was here. I got a whole video right here. See, there you go. And this kind of explains, so like this is how I do it. Yeah, see, there we go. So it's like I got some information about how all this works. But yeah. Internet service providers is an interesting idea. I am surprised nobody's recommended that one yet. That is a good point. I've never looked. I've never even thought about it. I've looked at like some weird ones, like payment processors or banks. Oh my God. Banks are so bad. Like, banks are one of those ones that just like, you don't want to look because it's just a universal truth with all of them. It's like, ugh. So. Yeah. Anyways, I think we're going to call it there, everybody. Thank you for joining. I want to also let you know that when we go to the goodbye page, you can type exclamation point, change channel, all one word, all lowercase, to change the channel of the TV. But everybody have a wonderful day. I hope you appreciated this. Yeah. If you haven't seen the main channel video about cars, you should definitely check it out. I think it's pretty good. So yeah. Hasta la pasta, as they say in Italy.
And it worked. Currently, the temperature is 81 degrees under partly cloudy skies. The temperature is 80.
Yes, as the month of August draws to a close, we are still in full swing. Yes, as the month of August draws to a close, we are still in full swing in the hurricane season. Already, several tropical depressions including.
The temperature is, a winter storm warning is in effect for our area. The temperature is 68.
Thank you, John.
Now, from your weather today, here's your local on the 8th.
Currently, the temperature is 42 degrees under fair skies.
Yes, as the month of August draws to a close, we are.
The temperature is 82 degrees under fair skies. Currently, the temperature is 81 degrees under partly cloudy skies.